Okay, hey everyone. Welcome to our first introductory call for the Blockchain in the City Challenge. The Trusted IoT Alliance is proud to be working with the City of Lyon and some outstanding globally recognized sponsor organizations on this challenge. We have some very altruistic goals for green energy consumption and saving the planet for the future by leveraging blockchain and DLT technologies for transportation and city living. So it's going to be a really great challenge. We already got underway with an event in Lyon last week with more than 60 attendees. And we already have several Toyota members signed up to compete in the challenge and hope to have many, many more. So for comparison, we have 25 competitors in the Smart Buildings Challenge, which is being conducted in parallel, and we think we can have even more for blockchain in the city. And as we'll discuss, the deadline for entries is November 5th for the first hackathon in Lyon, which will be November 13th to 15th. But then after we award winners at the hackathon, the challenge will continue well into 2020. So in this call, we're going to provide an overview of the challenge and hear from some of the main principals in the challenge and hear what it's about and why they got involved and how blockchain and DLTs can have a positive impact on our lives right now. So we'll hear first from Gilles, who will talk about the challenge from the perspective of LaRouche and EDF. EDF, as you know, is one of the biggest energy companies in the world, and they are the organization that has taken a leadership role with the challenge. They helped conceive the challenge and did all the hard work in the background to bring in the other sponsors and principals to make it happen. And Gilles and his colleague Diane Lecotanek at EDF have been instrumental in bringing it all together. So we told them what we need to make a challenge happen, and they went away and did it and checked all the boxes and brought it back to us. And as you can tell from the website, and we'll talk about last week's regional event in Lyon, they've done a fantastic job. So Gilles will start by giving background on LaRouche, the industrial tech venue in Lyon, which is hosting our hackathons and workshops. In English, LaRouche means the hive, technically the beehive. And it's a really cool new place that is already having an impact on the economy in Lyon. And then we hope to hear from Emmanuel from SNCF, the national train company in France, Chemin de Fer, which is supporting several use cases. And I don't think Bertrand is here today, but we will also get information on the Volvo Renault perspective. And Volvo Renault Trucks has introduced a new electric truck in the city challenge, which is not yet on the website, so we'll learn more about that today. So you're invited to visit the website. Just go to trusted-iot.org and click on the Blockchain in the City Challenge. And this is where you sign up to enter and where we have all the background information, the use case detail, summary docs, and so on. So you can read that the Blockchain in the City Challenge focuses on blockchain-based use cases for urban transportation, urban industry, decarbonized mobility, and the various other related use cases combining blockchain, IoT, and city life relevant to any large metropolitan area. And we've positioned it as a sequel to the Smart E-Mobility Challenge that ended in May. So if you were in that challenge, this is definitely for you. And we've widened the scope even further to make it appealing to others outside the transportation ecosystem as well. So the main goal of the challenge is to jointly develop solutions which provide real-world value add to the many aspects of city life in the near future, including services for city life. So yes, we're hoping that organizations will team up and find ways they complement one another, and that's how we've gotten the best results in previous challenges. So the challenge is designed to enhance the journey of an inhabitant of a large city in what we in blockchain believe is an attainable near future. Gilles will talk about this. We talk about the inhabitant being able to commute with multimodal urban transportation means, you know, smart parking, smart charging services, and so on, and what a typical working day could be like for them in a blockchain-enabled city. So the challenge looks at a complete journey and the infrastructure leveraging it, and these bullets provide some context for the overall scope that we're shooting for. And just a quick aside, I just wanted to include here 2 slides on our shared vision from the Toyota deck, because I believe it's striking how this challenge, maybe more than anything we've done yet, really seems to drive home the themes of why we started the Alliance in the first place. So it's decentralized trust of humans and machines working together. And toward that end, this challenge is facilitating all of these bullets, how we're working together to reach the shared vision. And of course, our common goal is to driving industry transformation through open solutions, widely accessible challenges, and maybe most importantly, helping to find a way to bring our member solutions to market and make them real, monetize them and commercialize them. Right, so back to the challenge. Here are the use cases. You can go on the site and download these. We have a descriptive PDF for each. We're calling them living use cases because they're changing quickly due to the impact and the influence of the actual solutions that we have in play, thanks to our sponsors. And so these are quickly evolving. It's not a set list, meaning that new competitors can come in and propose new use cases and modify these existing use cases. Volvo Renault Trucks, as I said, just this week proposed a new use case for trucks in the city, and we're adding that to the website today. So, in a note, this is a note about use case number 4, which is smart parking and smart charging. This has several sub-use cases that cover a lot of ground. Gilles will be taking a look at this one in a moment, but you can see we hope to cover a lot of territory with the use cases and with blockchain capabilities. And just some important logistical details. Based on feedback from previous challenges, we made the entry process for competitors much easier. To start, just to get into the contest, you just have to submit a 300-word description of your solution, and there's tick boxes on this page, and we check which use case or use cases you're going to support. And then there's a competitors agreement you need to sign and email us, and that has a publicity agreement and prize agreement. So we can, and that just allows us to use your logo in the challenge marketing. And then the PowerPoint that is your final solution that you'll submit at the end of the hackathon, that'll also be available online, but we don't need your final PowerPoint until the hackathon. So now you can just enter 300 words. And yes, there is a cash prize that's been put up by several of the principals that will be split among the winners, and there will be a proof of concept as part of the award. But that POC will take place at Rouge later this year and next year on into 2020. So here's where we are on the timeline currently. So we're at October 22nd today, and hearing from the lead principals today. This is essentially the kickoff call for our members. And then a week from today at the same time, October 29th, we'll hear from the technology partners. And they are Share and Charge, iExec, and Consensus. I think you already know all of them. And they'll talk about how to engage with them to leverage their technologies in the challenge. So contact me if you didn't get the dial-in for October 29th. We sent it out to all the members about a week ago. And then these deadlines are important to understand because we're doing it a little differently than with the Smart E-Mobility Challenge. So November 5th is 2 weeks from today, and it's the entry deadline to participate in the November 13th hackathon in Lyon. So that's another way of saying you can still enter the challenge after November 5th, because as you can see, it's going to continue into 2020. But to reasonably prepare for the hackathon, you'll want to be in on the 5th. Just go to the website and sign up, the 300-word form. And that's going to be a 3-day hackathon, and we're announcing the agenda for that soon, and you'll know how to connect up and everything before you get to LaRouche. And it's going to be a standalone event, which means we're going to announce hackathon winners in different categories right there at the end of the event. And we'll award the prize money on the last day, which is Friday the 15th. And then the challenge will continue on to other workshop events and hackathons in 2020, still to be determined. We're hoping to set something up at BCX. And then a grand prize, an overall winner will be announced sometime late in spring, we expect, and we'll nail down these dates soon. So right now the focus in the next big event is on November 5th entry deadline for the November 13th hackathon, and we're gonna get underway with the marketing of the competitors right around then. Here are the technology partners I mentioned. Thank you very much to them. The links are on the website. We'll hear from them next week. And then here are the principals. And this is a good opportunity to thank them for all the participation and hard work and vision for the challenge. We wouldn't be able to do this without them. It's an impressive list. And that's a good point to introduce Gilles from EDF. And Gilles, I'll make you the presenter and we'll bring up your slides.
Okay, then. Nice. Thank you for the presentation. Okay.
And you have the ball so you can show your screen.
Okay, because I have 2 screens, in fact. So
okay.
Now I know which one is the right screen. This is this one. Do you see my screen?
No, I think we're still seeing my last slide.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we are seeing not even your last slide, actually. We just see
okay,
the data of the conference. So.
Because I set my screen. Okay. I will do that.
There we go.
We see it.
Perfect.
It's okay?
Thank you.
Good.
Yes.
So, so thank you for attending this webinar. Just the first point, Emmanuel from the SNCF has some trouble to connect with this website from its internal network. So he is trying to call by phone. So I hope he will be able to connect after my presentation. So first I will make a short presentation of the industrial hive, La Ruche Industrielle in French. That is an innovation hub with corporate partners in the city of Lyon in France. And after I will present you very briefly EDF, what's happening in Lyon, on where is the city located and so on, and the use case that we present for the challenge. If you have any questions, please stop and ask. Do not hesitate. So La Ruche Industrielle is an innovation hub, and the members share use cases, support, tools, expertise to build a partnership project. It's a kind of open innovation project, and the purpose is to create synergy and to help startups to develop in La Ruche, in Lyon, about industry of the future thematics. So it includes IoT, blockchain, and many things. So just this picture was taken last Thursday because it was the official opening of La Ruche. And here you can see the former factory, and the hackathon will be there. in fact, in this room, exactly in this room. And so there was 400 people for just this inauguration event. So it's located in a former Bosch factory. The latest business in this factory was a photovoltaic panels building. And in fact, practically it was shut down because of the Chinese mass production and dumping about photovoltaic panels. So now it's an incubator here, industrial hive, and just near you have still a Bosch Rexroth factory. Okay. I will just focus on the partners. I don't know if you know all of them. So I'm sure you know Bosch and Bosch Rexroth. They are already well-established partners of Toyota. And EDF is my company, so it means Électricité de France. It's a large utility company. It's operating 60 nuclear reactors and producing around 80% of electricity for France, and a big part of production in UK. And another important partner will be SNCF, that is a French railway company. I hope Emmanuel will be able to present it in a few words. I can explain you later if he's not able to join. We have Renault and Volvo Truck. So this is a truck manufacturing company based in Sweden. And Renault is maybe not very well known in US, but it's a big car company in France. And Renault Truck is now a full subsidiary of Volvo. It's no more part of Renault anymore. We have also INSA, that is an important academic center in Lyon. They will provide students for the hackathon and challenge. And we have Grand Lyon. I will present you after what is Grand Lyon. It's maybe specific for this challenge. Grand Lyon is not an industrial, it's not a startup, it's a public community. So I will just describe Grand Lyon after. So it's explain why we focus on city life, on social environmental impact, and privacy in this challenge, because they are main concerns for Grand Lyon. And Grand Lyon, in fact, is the common point between all these partners, because Grand Lyon is funding La Ruche with all the partners, and Grand Lyon gives the main objective of La Ruche. Is it clear? Okay.
Yes, very good.
Thank you. If my English is not clear, please tell me. I have to always to improve, you know. Okay. So if you have no question about La Ruche, now you know the place. I will speak about EDF. Okay. So just a few minutes to change my slides. Okay. Good. Do you see this one?
Yes. Yes, we see it.
You can go full screen.
Okay, good. And if I do that, I will maybe try to put it on. It's okay?
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So blockchain, the city challenge, from EDF point of view, is a way to think about in the near future how blockchain can be helpful for urban life. And to be honest, I'm born in Lyon, so I'm not completely objective, but Lyon is a very nice city, and it's a very nice place to experiment what could be this kind of technology and this kind of purpose in a large metropole in France. Okay, I come to the next slide. Good. So just first, very shortly, a few figures about EDF. Maybe you don't know this company, it's in French, but you can see the figure. So we have around 69 billion euro revenue last year. We are 165,000 worldwide. So we have centers in France, but also a large activity in UK, Italy, and US, especially for renewables. We have 40 million, what we call seed client, it's delivery points. So it's industries, business, individuals where we deliver energy. So I would say the main markets for EDF are France, UK, and US. And we have also research centers and partnership in China, in Italy, that is growing, Germany. Okay, and nice online here, it's in EDF Deutschland. So the production of EDF worldwide is mainly nuclear, France and UK. Okay, we have hydro and renewables are growing very fast, in fact. And it means that today we are at 90% decarbonized, okay, with a growing part of renewables. And this is, I would say, a very positive heritage of the former UK and French energy policies that focused on nuclear, because today we have very good figures in terms of decarbonized energy. And we are proud of that. Just a few words about blockchain in EDF today. So Mr. Jean-Bernard Lévy here is the CEO of EDF, and he has a long history in digital world. And in October last year, he decided to organize all activities in EDF about blockchains, artificial intelligence, and IoT in 3 task forces. And I'm the chairman of the blockchains task force. And so I'm in charge to coordinate, mutualize, and I would say push to push blockchains development in EDF. And it's very interesting because it's very serious. I mean, we have to report to the executive committee of EDF, that is a large company, every 6 months. And it's very important because we can work horizontally with people in charge of artificial intelligence and IoT. So it's difficult, to be honest, to merge all this technology together today. But it's a very strong push and objective for us today. And you will, I hope Emmanuel will be online in a few minutes. But in the French railway company in SNCF, Emmanuel is in charge of blockchains and IoT at the same time. So we have, I would say, a common vision of these technologies today. And we have a research project that is Durin, Design and Use Reliable project that I started 3 years ago. And it will be followed by another project that is Babbage about blockchain and IoT. So for us, it's a very long-term objective to merge all these technologies together. Okay, so blockchain the city challenge. So the idea, okay, is to focus on the journey of an inhabitant of a large metropolitan area. So it could be in North America, in Asia, or in Europe. In that case, it's Europe, in a possible near future, okay? And maybe this is more specific to Europe. The context is that the local public policy is to push multimodal urban transportation, decarbonized mobility, smart parking, smart charging services, and light industry inside the city. Okay, and so the global idea of the challenge is to look how IoT blockchain can help to develop a complete journey for these inhabitants with low carbon activity, highly efficient energy services, and all the infrastructure delivering it, okay? And you will see that the use case will certainly change a bit in the coming weeks or months, because we see the challenge as an ideation process. It's an open innovation process. So it will evolve because of your inputs, of course, because of the hackathon outputs, also on all kind of ideations that we have together. Just a few words about Lyon. As I told you, it's a very old city. It was built by the Roman Empire. You can see the antique theater. It was a very rich city during the Middle Age. You have all the Vieux-Lyon. You can see the pictures there because it was a large bank and industry activity built by people coming from Italy. Lyon is just between near of Italy, Switzerland, all the Mediterranean coast, France. So it's a crossroad. So Lyon has always been a rich city with finance and industry. Okay, and today France has some trouble to keep its industry alive, but Lyon is still a very powerful industrial center. Okay, so you have just a few figures there in French, but okay, you have 75 people working directly in industry, and it means it's 60% of the revenue of the region of Lyon. Okay, on Lyon itself, it's 1.2 million inhabitants. If you compare to China, of course, but also United States, it's a small city, but in fact, it's the second largest metropole for France. And it's probably, given the revenue per inhabitant, one of the most rich cities. So it means you have a good potentiality to build something and to develop interesting use case with the partners there. Okay? Any questions? Good. And also, as part of Lyon, EDF has an activity to develop electric mobility. So EasyVia will be present as a hackathon and will present 2 use cases. Is building the charging network, the charging infrastructure for electrical mobility in Lyon. So it means that it will be 59 localities that constitute the metropolis will have charging stations at the end of next year, 600 stations and 100 power stations. Okay, and the purpose is to have 100% of this energy that will be renewables. Okay, and so EasyVia is like EDF, it's a subsidiary. EasyVia will provide 2 use cases and is working with Share and Charge to provide some specification on environment for the development. The basic idea, of course, could be to use charging stations as connected things with the blockchain connections. The second big project for EDF is Confluence district. It's a new district here. And it's a district with peer-to-peer trading, energy trading, and with 50% of the energy of these buildings will be produced by solar energy. So we have 2, I would say, playgrounds or play fields in Lyon with energy and EDF. So if we go to the use cases that we push, EDF and EasyVia, we focus on mobility. And the idea as a global objective is to lever the development of electrical mobility in Lyon. I would say with 2 pain points, maybe or 1 pain point or limitations to solve. As you know, maybe the problem today with electrical mobility is you have few charging stations available. And the payment is still a bit complicated. You need subscriptions, you have many operators, you have a low interoperability level, and so on and so on. And also the service provided by this charging station today is poor. You only charge your car, that's all. But the idea could be to enrich the user experience. For example, to provide interesting time period with better prices, to optimize loading periods, to relieve the grid, car to grid, and to optimize the load, and to provide, for example, origin of the energy used to charge a vehicle, to provide carbon footprints estimates, and so on and so on. Okay, so our purpose is to lever electrical mobility, and what we would like from blockchain and IoT is to simplify user experience and enrich the user experience, make it better. So today we change a bit, sorry Ivan, we change a bit the use cases from the last version, but it's still open. If you have any ideas, guys, contestants, it's very open. So we have two use cases provided by EasyVia, and they will provide the API and the information to connect to the charging station. So the first one is to be able, for example, you have no subscription to EasyVia. You arrive in Lyon, you have an electrical car, you want to charge. How can you do that? Okay, how can you have a direct payment if you have no subscription to EasyVia? And the second use case is to have transaction between e-mobility service providers, for example, EasyVia, Energy, Vattenfall, for example, maybe operating charging station in France, or even an individual guy who has only one charging station. How can we make them interoperable? And we have also use cases with smart parking. And these use cases are dedicated for the Confluence district. Okay, remember the new district that you are building in Lyon. And so we will test here new ideas to improve mobility into the city by putting intelligence into the parking. So with IoT, with blockchain. Okay, so the first use case is to incentivize people to let their cars in the proximity of the city and after to take mass transportation system, light mobility systems like bikes, scooters, and so on. Okay. So the idea is to have a kind of universal mobility pass or pass system to be able to change of vehicle. And you can imagine many services. You can, for example, have a traceability of your transportation system, your carbon footprint. It may be able to take account of your revenue, your age, your family status, and so on. Okay. The second use case is to provide an access to a private park place in a building with charging facility. The third use case is to be able to mutualize parking places. And the last use case is to push on car sharing with any kind of connection between cars or between car on the platform and so on. And something I think that is important for all these use cases, including the use case from SNCF, the mobility as a service, and on Lyon Métropole, is that if you consider things on blockchains, we may have potentially big problem with privacy and commercial privacy. And so it's important for us to provide solutions that can help to have very good high level of privacy and security for commercial data. And also it's a very positive point from EDF standpoint that the solutions will be able to be very positive in terms of environmental and societal impact. Okay, so the purpose is not to create new big centralized information platforms, but to try to be as much open and distributed as possible. Well, I think that's all for EDF and La Ruche. Any questions?
Gilles, what can you tell us about how far along EDF is in implementing blockchain day to day in the real world? Has it been embraced as a standard at EDF? Or how far along is it?
Okay. We have since 2 years we have a blockchain in production that is a beta. That is our first application. It's to certify EDF press communique. So it's a very basic use of blockchain for certification. But
Okay.
it was an interesting use case to learn and with very low risk. And now we have this service in production, blockchain based since 2 years. We are operating blockchain nodes. So we are validators for the Energy Web Foundation blockchain. And we have private blockchains for internal experiments, and we have also a node, we are mining Ethereum, so to be able to purchase gas and so on. And I cannot present all the ideas we have in terms of blockchain. We have today currently 20 projects with blockchains. And one is full production, communicate press, and 3 will, I would say, are in beta test with customers in the coming months.
So thank you for that. So there must be some.
The last point, we have also an open experiment in London, in the south of London, that is community project, where the blockchain is implemented in peer-to-peer trading in a big building south of London. It's named Community Project. You can find it on internet. We have 200 people living in the building, and it's an experiment of peer-to-peer trading between all of them.
It seems like blockchain has momentum high up at EDF. Like the fact that they're supporting this challenge must mean that they see promise with the technology at a high level.
Yeah. You have 3 ideas for us, to be frank. First, we are defensive. Many people want to come into the energy market explaining that they will Uberize the historic utilities, that they will do it better, and so on, providing services. So we have to be active in the blockchain field just to understand their business model, to be able to provide the same kind of services. That's, I would say, the defensive part. But there are 2 more interesting activities in the blockchain. First, it's a very efficient tool to rethink our processes, okay, to reinvent some internal processes and to provide new. On the second point, it's a very useful tool to provide new services and new products. That maybe we could do that without blockchain, but it's a very creative technology if you want to change your mindset regarding your business. And so for me, it's a very interesting benefit of blockchain ideation. And we hope to have very interesting inputs from blockchain plus IoT. Just to reconsider our way to make business and our way to work.
Right.
One more question, if I may. When you say blockchain, are you pretty much open to any DAG solution, distributed ledger technology, or just blockchain?
No, blockchain is a kind of global world. I agree. You have blockchains that may be just distributed ledgers or tangles, for example, that are not blockchains. The real idea between this word, because I use the word blockchains in my project on the task force, it just to mean something like decentralized distributed architectures, with the idea to have a common ledger that people can share and can build in a decentralized manner. Okay.
Thank you for your answer. Mm-hmm.
And we are very open to public blockchain, consortium blockchains. We are completely agnostic in terms of technology.
Yes, and so the challenge will be also agnostic.
Yeah, the challenge is agnostic. Yep. We have technology partners that will propose technology, but it's not mandatory to use the technology. For us, it's more important to use their ideas and their experience, or maybe rather than the technology itself.
Any other questions for Gilles? So we had hoped to hear from Emmanuel. Do we have someone from SNCF on the call?
Yes. Emmanuel is not going to be here, but I will do the presentation. It's
okay.
Johan.
Okay, yeah.
You will.
Hello,
Thank you, Johan. Shall I make you the presenter?
Yes, please.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, first, I'm going to present SNCF because I don't know if everybody knows this company. So SNCF, as Gilles said, is the French railway company, and it's the historic railway company. So it means that it has almost a monopoly situation.
Sorry, Johan,
SNCF,
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's just we are seeing your OneNote page, and I don't know if you are presenting.
I know.
Okay.
No, I don't have any slides to present SNCF, but I'll switch to slides. I'm just reading my.
Okay, sorry to interrupt
so that,
then.
I don't. Almost 3,000 train stations, and we are the first electricity consumer in France. We use by ourselves more than the second consumer and the third consumer. So we are the first consumer and by far. In year 2018, SNCF has carried more than 82 million people, and it's the biggest railway company in France. Something important to know, SNCF and EDF are dependent of the French state, even if they are private companies. So we work on a very regulated market in France, and we can't do whatever we want. So it's sometimes it can be difficult for us to work with startups because we have market restrictions. In terms of sponsorship, SNCF and EDF are a bit different. In SNCF, the blockchain subject has been raised by the digital and innovation entity. It's not the CEO as it has been decided in EDF. So it's different because we can't push the project very far by ourselves. We need to go and find some sponsor with a high level to make sure that the projects are going to be industrialized and deployed in a larger scale. But I'm confident that we will find somebody, some sponsors in SNCF, because I'm working on that. I'm trying to find some sponsors to defend and scale the use cases we are presenting in the hackathon. So the first use case we're presenting in this hackathon is about mass. Sorry, my slides are in French, but I will explain in English. So the point about mass is when you're a consumer and you want to travel, most of the time you have to mix different type of transport and different companies. So for example, you have to use a plane or a train, and then you use a subway or a taxi when you arrive in at destination. And if you want to book this different planning, if you want to plan your move, you have to go on different websites, and it's not efficient for you as a consumer, because you have to switch between the websites and between the companies and choose the right destination and the right time, and you make sure that you can catch the next travel you are booking. So it's very difficult. And so if you want to make the service more efficient for the client, then you have one solution. And the first solution is that you create a centralized application where the consumer can book the different kind of services and the different kind of transport he wants. And if you do that, you create a kind of booking company. Booking is that kind of company. It's a company. It's a web company that is between the hotels and between the client, and that is gathering different offers and present them to the client. And of course, all the different transport companies, they don't want that kind of platform, because they won't be in touch with their clients and they won't be able to offer new services to those clients. And if you have a look at the business model of Booking, it is very difficult for the hotel companies to earn some money, because Booking is keeping a lot of money on the different transactions. So we don't want that. And of course, actually, all the different transport companies are trying to take this place between the client and the other companies. But it won't work, because all the companies won't provide a platform with all the services. And so we reach a situation where everything is blocked. And maybe we think that blockchain could help, because we imagine that there are two solutions. With blockchain, we could unlock this situation. The first one would be to use a blockchain to help the different transport companies to exchange information about their services, about their tickets, and about their invoices. Each of the companies would keep its client, and each company would not have to share their clients with other companies, but still they could use the blockchain to exchange some information, some basic informations. And the first information would be to exchange the different offers, so that you can buy, for example, a plane on a train website company. And it would allow the customers to have all the different offers in one website. Actually, they would have all the different offers in all the different websites. So that's the first vision. It's the first step. I think it's about KYC or about how the different companies are going to exchange some information about their customers and their offers. So I'm not sure how it's going to work, and I hope you're going to help us to find any solution about this vision. But there is another vision that is more ambitious, and that this vision is the one described on the right of the slide. So the companies wouldn't, in this vision, the companies wouldn't have a list of their clients, but all the different clients would be connected to the blockchain, and on this blockchain they could buy some different transport tickets and services. This is more ambitious, and I'm not sure that the transport companies are ready to give up their ownership over the client list and what they can do with that. But still, I think it would be interesting to study this kind of solution. Okay, so that's it for the first use case. Before I go to the second one, is there any question about this use case? No? It's okay? So I go to the second one. So the second use case has been mostly inspired by the car industry. The car industry are working to create a book, I don't know the word in English, a notebook about maintenance for their cars. And they've seen that when you go to the workshop to repair your car, most of the time the clients switch and they don't use the same workshop. So when you go to this workshop and you want your car repair, it's very difficult for the people who are going to repair your car to know what has been done before on this car. And still, they want to do their job properly. They don't want to give you back your car and that your car just stop working after 5 kilometers. So they must make sure that they give you a good service and they take a responsibility over the work they are doing on your car. But to do that, they need to have some information about what the previous workshop has done on this car. So they've reached the conclusion that they need to share some information, even if they are competitors. They need to share not all the information, but some information to make sure that they can work. In a good manner. After they decided that, they've discussed with insurance. They've discussed with companies who are resellers of cars, and they've seen that many actors are interested to have those informations about how the car is repaired, because they all have different interests. And we've seen these projects because many car companies are working on that, and we've seen that this project can be useful for us for our trains, because it's the same thing. Most of the time, the people don't know that, but the trains aren't necessarily owned by the train company. Sometimes they are owned by the state, by France, or by the French area or region, and this owner wants his train to be repaired, and he changes this owner changes and is not always going to the same workshop. And so you have the same problem. If you want to have a vision of how your train has been repaired, it's very complex because your train is not going into the same workshop, and it's each workshop do different things. And you have another actor into the train companies. The company who is driving the train is not the one who is going to repair the train. So some informations are going between all the different actors. And actually, if you make a focus on the different actors, so you have I've removed the owner of the train, and I've removed the manufacturer. So here on this slide, I've only got the company who is going to drive the train and the two kind of workshops who are going to repair the train, because the trains are repaired by two kinds of workshop. We have small maintenance and we have big maintenance. And basically the difference is in small maintenance, you're going to repair the seats or it's small maintenance. And in the big maintenance, you're going to remove the engine, you're going to remove the wheels, and you're going to see if everything is working together. And it's a very big infrastructure. And those workshops are sometimes in different companies. So actually, as I said, SNCF has almost a monopoly situation. So it's kind of easy to share some information between those actors, between the driving company and the different kind of workshops. But in the future, it means next year, the French government has decided to open the market, and so new driving companies are going to operate some trains, and new workshops are going to arrive and repair the trains. So it's going to become very difficult to know what kind of information is going between all those different actors. And furthermore, it's going to be difficult to know who has taken the responsibility to repair what kind of which pieces on the train, and if the train stops and there is a problem, who has the responsibility to repair the train, and which piece of the train has been repaired and which piece is broken, what is the guarantee, and so on. So we think that blockchain could help us to gather the informations which are going to be shared between the different partners. And we don't want to share everything because it's a competitive market, but still we think some informations could be shared and could help everybody in this situation. This use case, I've presented you this use case for trains, but basically it works for any kind of asset which is going to be maintained or repaired by different subcontractors. Because when you have different subcontractors working on the same asset, you have this responsibility problem, and you want to follow who has done what and who takes the responsibility for which action. So it could work on cars, it could work on trains, it could work on anything which is going to be maintained. So this is the end of the presentation of the second use case. Before I switch to the third one, is there any question?
We appreciate you all staying on the call, but we are recording it in case you need to, you can log on and hear the end later.
Okay.
Just so everyone knows. Thanks, Johan. Yeah.
Okay, so the last use case we're presenting is a very specific use case. So, as I said, SNCF and EDF are very close to the French state, and so the French state, for example, give us some money to make sure that people who have difficulties or who are disabled, who are unemployed, will be able to use trains without paying anything. So basically, we have a deal with the French state, and some people can travel, and it's free for them. So this screen presents the different offers we have for those people. So on the left, the first three columns are those one. The first one shows the different you can see in the second column the different offers. So, for example, in the first line, you have Occitanie region, and there is only one offer. But in the second line, you have the region Aura, and there are three different offers. And then you reach the third column. For each offers, you have different kind of people who can benefit from this offer. So, for example, it's disabled people or unemployed people or any kind of other people who need help. And each of those people are described in the third column. And when those people want to benefit from those free transport, they have to send us a file. They have to fill a form, and they have to give us some papers to make sure that they can benefit from those offers. For example, if they are unemployed, they have to give us a certificate that they don't have any, that they are not working. And in the following columns, you see all the different documents that those people must give us. So for each of the offers, they have to give us between 6 and 10 documents, and we use the documents to make sure that they can benefit from the offers. So it's a very difficult process for people, because most of the time there are people who have difficulties. Some of them they don't read, so it's a very specific kind of people, and the process is not adapted to their needs. Actually, all of that is paperwork. So they fill a form, they send us a mail, not an email, but a mail, and every 6 months they have to send us those documents, and we reactivate their rights to make sure that they can travel freely. And so our first idea is to dematerialize this process. We would like the people not to use mail, but perhaps email or website or any kind of platform. And That's the first thing. And we could do that in a centralized manner. But I need to give you another information to make you understand why we are talking about blockchain. This is the slide where we describe the different SNCF offers. You have to know that in each region, so 10 different regions, you have different transport operators, like bus operators or subway operators, and each of them offer the same kind of services. It means that they offer free transport also. And those people who are unemployed and who perhaps they don't know they don't read, they have to send those documents to SNCF every 6 months, but they have to send the same files to the different transport operators as well. So every 6 months, they have to send the files to SNCF, to TCO, to other companies. So it's very, very complicated. And that's where blockchain could be helpful, because blockchain could help those different companies to share the information about those people. And it would mean that those clients and those people would have to send the information only one time every 6 months to one of the companies, and then this company could share the information to the others and make sure that the client doesn't have to send so many files and so many informations and always the same information to the different companies. So the first step for us is going to propose something to dematerialize the process, but we would like to propose something which would help the different companies to share the information. That's the first important thing. And the second important thing is the people we are working with are people with difficulties. I don't know how to say in English, but that sometimes they don't know how to read and so on. And it's important for us that the process is very easy for them to understand. And basically, when I use the word KYC, know your customer, I know what banks provide, what kind of service they provide. And the KYC is very complex because you have to take a picture with your ID and show the newspaper of the day. And you have many exchange, many mails with the KYC provider. And I think that this kind of process is very complex for the people we are dealing with. And I would like to find something easier for them. So I don't know if you can provide us some improvement and some solution for this issue we have. So that is the end of the presentation of my third use case. I don't know if there are any questions. No? Okay.
Thank you, Johan.
Can switch off presentation.
Gilles, is there another principle we need to cover today, or is that everything?
Yes, that's everything for today. Renault Volvo is not here today. They will provide a use case truck in the city about logistic and traceability, but unfortunately they are not available today. And but you will find the use case description on the website, and you will have contact names so you can contact them directly.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'll get that up as soon as I can, and we'll send it out to all the Toyota membership. So that's great. Any questions for me, Gilles, or Johan before we sign off?
Yeah, yes, one question, Ivan. It's Anaïs from EDF. I'm wondering, given the time, what kind of marketing or publication you will do for the hackathon?
You mean what kind of marketing promotion?
Yeah.
So we're going to be promoting that heavily to our members to make sure we have entries between now and November 1st. And we're going to do a press release, a global press release, a couple weeks prior to the hackathon. And we're going to have a social media calendar that we're happy to share with anyone, mostly Twitter and LinkedIn, so people can follow along or post their own tweets. Then, of course, we have the wall page where if you use hashtag Toyota Challenges, all your tweets will get automatically posted to that page. And that's where we're going to drum up interest, not just in the press, but we're also looking for more people globally to enter the challenges. And open to ideas from EDF and the principals on the best way to market this in France and in Europe, of course.
Okay. Great. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you for that question. Yes. Great. Any other questions? Thanks so much for staying on. We'll post this on a Google Drive in the next day or so, and watch for the dial-in information for the conference call next week with the technology partners. It'll be at the same time as this one was on Tuesday the 29th. And thanks, Johan and Gilles, for your time, for your excellent presentations, and thanks everyone for joining. See you soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.